Hi doing beautiful people, welcome to the new video. In this one we're going to talk about how to quit alcohol, and specifically alcohol. I'm going to focus on alcohol addiction. I'm going to talk about my story with alcohol, how I've been drinking for a while, and I've been drinking a lot certain times in my life, and I had a lot of friends who drank, my family drank alcohol, everyone drinks alcohol in my home country, Estonia. We're mixed of Estonians and Russians, and all of us drink, all of us get hammered and go to sauna and drink. We drink on Fridays, drink on Saturdays, we try to drink on evenings, right? And then I lived in London for 12 years, which is also a heavy drinking culture where everyone socializes by drinking. So very much as a European, as a Russian, as an Estonian, and as someone who lived in England for a long time, I've experienced, the density of that drinking culture. And I can see that a lot of people want to escape it, and they can't, because the drinking culture is so ingrained into the current society, and we're so involved with it. It's like almost like if you don't drink, you don't have any friends, and you're a loser, and you're boring, and you're lame. That's kind of like the stereotype. So understandably, sometimes this is kind of true. Some sober people are very lame and boring, but a lot of people who drink are also very lame and boring when they're sober, right? And they're only able to have fun when they're drunk, but then their health goes to south so fast. So these are like very temporary friends to have anyway. So the difference, the difference in this video between the other video where I talk about all addictions in general, I'm gonna nail down specifically my story with alcohol and the things that most people, and I experienced with alcohol, and most people experience with alcohol, and the reasons people get drunk, the reasons I used to get drunk, and the reasons I see a lot of people get drunk, and so how to manage those specific things. So look, alcoholism is huge, and just drinking culture is huge, and I'm not trying to make it wrong. Specifically, it's not the wrong thing, but if it's ruining your life and stopping you from achieving your dreams, stopping you from living the life you truly want to be, stopping you from being healthy and being able to build your dream business, make videos on social media, become a singer or a dancer, paint or travel, or if it, ruins your ability to look after your family, then it's a problem. And so it's something we have to look at. Now, I started drinking probably at the age I shouldn't have. And really quickly became sort of part of a Friday and Saturday night shenanigans, meet my friends, get drunk, and just be stupid initially. And then as we got older, and actually I was actually the one who would say, hey, let's go to Central, let's go to clubs, let's go hang out, let's go talk to girls. And eventually after couple bottles of vodka and walking around for a long time, gathering enough courage to approach a group of girls, suddenly was able to, and that kind of became the standard, pre-drink, so you're hammered before you enter the nightclub, and once you're at the nightclub, you're already so hammered you don't care, you're able to speak to girls and flirt and all that, and get sort of that aspect of experience. Able to be yourself, able to dance, able to sing along to the songs that you like, that you usually don't do, able to talk to people, have fun, and wish them great and beautiful things. All of that criticism the mind that always has kind of dies down. So, understandably, and when I got to London, just around age 18, I went to university, and again, it's a very heavy drinking culture. I was actually surprised the university has a bar. And I was like, what? That's stupid. That's like if school sold cigarettes, because, kids in school smoke. 15, 16, 17-year-olds, illegal age to smoke, they smoke. But, but now that you're 18, suddenly universities have bars. That's, to me, is obnoxious. Like, why would you promote drinking culture? But it's there, people go there, and that was weird, but it happens. And so people did that. And I still used to party and drink as usual. And then it came a moment when I realized that really what I want to be doing is I want to be talking to people. I want to be meeting new people. I want to be approaching girls I like, inviting them on dates or flirting with them, whatever else, having some sort of experience, romantic or half romantic experience. I want to be having more friends. I want to be having fun. I want to be dancing and singing, right? That's what I really want to be doing. And so it came a moment where I met a lot of people who used to go out and party sober. And that was amazing for me. That was very transformational, because I was like, oh wow, wait, we don't have to be getting hammered to be able to have fun. And so drinking dropped, but everything else remained. Now, it took some time to get enough courage to be able to actually approach and speak to people when I'm sober. It took some courage to actually be able to dance in a nightclub when everyone's drunk, sober. It took some courage to sing songs in karaoke. But with time, I was able actually to get that drunk level of confidence in a sober state, which was incredible. And so I realized, man, I actually don't need drinking. Now, drinking doesn't only do that. Drinking also helps to talk about the things that are kind of hidden, the things that you're very shy, you're very scared to look at, the things, the topics you don't want to discuss, you're very scared to talk about them. When you're drunk, you start speaking about it. We say that, well, there's a saying, pour the soul out. There's a similar saying in Russian, and usually the stereotype is when the Russian man, very hard man, is drunk, he starts pouring his soul out. So I stopped drinking to be able to have fun, but there were times where I felt like I kind of needed it to still be able to process some of these heavy pent-up emotions. So I quit drinking for maybe 2 to 3 years, then I started doing it again. Then maybe again I quit drinking for a year, then I started again for a few months. And I went in periods like that, you know, sobriety for 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, then drinking. Maybe not binge drinking, maybe it will be like once a month, for example, with friends at the dinner, especially at certain times where, you know, maybe we wouldn't go out partying to the clubs, we would have a dinner at home and get drunk and then have fun. And it was always more fun with alcohol. And so it was like this. And I can really say that it wasn't necessarily a problem in the majority of my life, but there were problematic moments. And the last one was a time where, around Christmas a couple of years ago, where people would invite me to their home, we would have dinner, and then be like, hey, you want to drink? And I'm like, nah, I don't want to drink. And they're like, oh, would you mind if I drink? Like, no, it's okay, man, you drink, you know, go ahead. And then as we're chatting, I'm relaxed, they're already drunk, they're like, come on, man, just have one shot, you know, it's so nice, this is a special, you know, it's a special drink, it's not standard vodka, it's from my home country, it's a special drink we have. I'm like, okay, sure, all right, one, just one. And as it always is, when there's one, there's many. You have one, you have two, then you have this, and you have that, and it just escalates and escalates. And then it's like, and it's not necessarily I'm hammered or out of it, but I drank, and I didn't want to. And then the next morning, a bit of hangover, a bit of effects. The next day again, at another friend's place for dinner, eating food, having fun, having dessert. Would you like a drink? No, it's okay. Okay, would you mind if you drink? They drink. You kind of want to be part of the group, right? Eventually, or you gotta leave. If you know, or you gotta be really strong with your willpower. So it would happen that my willpower would be kind of weak in a sense, and so I would always succumb to drinking, and that would happen multiple times in a row in a period of months, probably, you know, I don't know, 10 times, 15 times. And I was like, man, it sounds like I have a problem. Not necessarily a problem, a drinking problem, but I cannot control my drinking to 100% problem. And so that was kind of eye-opening to me, and I started doing quite a bit of yoga and meditation at the time, which I felt was really powerful and was already helping me. But in that time, it really made a shift. And it was actually a course I was watching called Inner Engineering by Sadhguru. And that really helped to kind of bring some clarity to certain things. And I remember just the next day after one of the videos, I was like, okay, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to drink, smoke, or, you know, party like that, as in like I would still party with friends, but I wouldn't do that. And actually on the New Year's, my friends were drinking and they were offering me all the time, come on, man, it's New Year. And I was like, no, I don't want to drink anymore, that's it. And so that was pretty much the time a couple of years ago where I said I'm not going to drink. Now, did I have some moments where I kind of slipped up and went in a couple binges? I traveled a lot, so that probably made it easier. So I did probably have two periods of my time where for about 2 to 3 weeks I would drink, not every day, but like every few days or so, and then I would be like, almost like wake up and like, actually this kind of sucks. Like, it was kind of fun after a while, it's kind of fun for the first few times, and then it starts being kind of, it sucks, because you kind of need that drink all the time. It kind of becomes, it does become an addiction. So, but they wouldn't kind of take me out. They wouldn't really get in the way of me building what I want. And so I really understood kind of how this works. And for myself, I started seeing like, okay, fundamentally, really it's two things that alcohol helps me, is to have fun by really basic human needs, which is dancing and singing. Like that's what most people do when they want to have fun. So they want to dance, they want to sing, they want to move, or they want to be around people who dance and sing. You know, if they really just want to stand, but they want to be surrounded by people who dance and sing, celebration, you know, and be able to be nice with new people you've never seen before and wish them well. You know, that's something that's kind of, you know, we live in a dangerous world. We're always kind of holding to ourselves. We don't want to mix our energy with other people, but we do also crave that connection. And so how do you do that? Well, you get drunk, now you don't care. But then there's the side effects of it. So if you learn how to connect with people at least a little bit as a sober person, that's good. So I realized that there's really that desire for connection, to have fun, also desire for romantic connection. There's a mismanagement of your sort of primal sexual energy, right? That's a lot of the, you know, we don't talk about this, and I think it's very important for knowledge of addiction to speak about this, because, and this is the thing I noticed, in that people who drink a lot, they're just trying to suppress their sexual energy because it wants something else, and but they're maybe stuck with a partner they hate or they don't like or just not attracted to, and they don't know what to do with their creative energy, which is on the fundamental level is sexual, but it can be channeled upwards into something more, into something different, into building a business, or writing a book, or making a video, or writing a song, or creating something, opening something, creating something. I mean, creating a business is a beautiful thing, right? And so it's channeling that energy, but they're not channeling it, and they're not attracted to their wife, or they're not getting it from their wife, or whatever, and so they need to drink just to be able to kind of suppress it or disperse it or whatever else. And so that's one of the things I noticed in me as well, and that's how I really can recognize it in other people, because I've experienced the same thing. It wasn't like a problem, but I experienced it. I experienced it. So, oh, okay, you know, the periods of time where I'm like confused, you know, and not understanding what do I want, is because there's like a mental block that we are not addressing our sexual energy, and that's very important, and that's what creates a lot of psychological problems. And also it's an inability to manage negative emotions, pent-up negative emotions, anger, resentment, jealousy, all sorts of stuff that we try to not demonstrate because it kind of looks weak and stupid and whatever else, but then we don't have an outlet for it. And obviously therapy can help, or talking to your friends, talking to your family, people that you can be vulnerable with, but sometimes you cannot be vulnerable with anyone, and so we keep holding, and the only way to be able to process it is to get drunk, and then finally you can call your ex and complain about, or cry to her or something like that. And that's kind of the stereotype, right? When people get hammered at 3 a.m., they call their exes, because that's what they really want. They really want to talk to their significant other, even if they're separated. So they get drunk, and only when they're drunk they call them, because that's like kind of the closest person they had for a while. So I know that because I've done that or something similar, and I had exes call me a lot when they're drunk as well. So understandable, right? Not making fun of them or anything like that. You know, we're all doing the same thing. So this is what alcohol is. And so you need to see inside of yourself the things I'm pointing to, and maybe there's more, but these are fundamental. Having fun celebrating, right? Not understanding, not connecting to your sexual energy, and not processing negative emotions. These three things are fundamental to understanding alcohol addiction, or your need for alcohol, and what alcohol does for you, right? Celebration, social time. So let's look at them. One by one. So one of the big things people tell me when they're like, oh, one of the things people tell me often enough is when I tell them, by the way, you know, you should stop drinking as part of the coaching. You should stop drinking. It's going to help you to build confidence way faster if you stop drinking. They're like, oh, okay. Like, I never really liked drinking anyway. I just kind of, everyone does it, so I do it. But if I don't have to, because I think she's going to help me, they easily drop it. And then there's other type of people who are like, oh, all of my friends drink. It's going to be really difficult. All of my friends drink. Now, I don't want to be judgmental, but you know, how difficult your life is if you're ingrained in a social circle and you have to do what they do, otherwise you're going to be an outcast. It's a really weak situation to be in, especially as a man. I understand women are social creatures and they have to fit in a society. You know, it's crucial for them. But for a man, it's okay to be a lone wolf sometimes, right? But you know, there's a need for social connection, and there's plenty of sober circles out there. But I understand how painful it can be if you have a vibrant social life in a big city. You go out, you do things together, you do events, you play sports, you play rugby on a Sunday afternoon, then you go for a pint afterwards, you know, or you play, I don't know, football or basketball in a day, then you go for a drink afterwards, and you go party, and it's all fun, and it's like that, and it's like, oh wow, we have so much fun, right? You do have a lot of fun, but understand this: if you were, you know, if you can have fun sober with those friends, you'll be able to always have fun sober with them. But there are type of friends that you're only able to have fun when you both are drunk, and maybe you're not even that close. Maybe you're only close when you're completely out of it. But as a sober person, there's just nothing in common. It happens. And so maybe it's just a sign that, you know, if you can have fun with someone sober, maybe they're not really supposed to be your friend. Or maybe you need to discover what else you have in common, right? So, but that's, you know, it's not easy to do like that, you know, to drop a whole friend circle. So I'm not kind of looking down on anyone and saying, what a loser. No, it's fine. Compassionately, let's look at this and let's create ourselves a situation where we can transition without it being abrupt for our emotions. Because what's going to happen is, if you stop drinking and you stop hanging out with people who you had lots of fun with, lots of amazing memories, you basically getting lots of good emotions, lots of new memories. If you don't replace that, you're going to crave it, and then eventually you're going to relapse, because it's like, well, what's the point? Life is so shit without it, I might as well go back to it. You just need to teach your system, not just mentally, but you need to show your body that you can experience great emotions, great fun in a sober state. You need to teach your body how to do that. That's fundamental for you to do that. What happened for me is I had a new social circle, people who were sober, so it was easy for me to drop all the drinking buddies, and we were having fun. We were going out, dancing, talking to people, talking to girls. So there's a lot of energy being generated, you know, romantic and flirting and all that, you know. So I'm getting emotions. I'm getting sexually activated. You know, it's not always ending up in intimacy physically, but sometimes it does, and it's great. But sometimes it's just flirting, and that's already good, you know. Just talking to a woman and flirting and having fun and going on a date, all that stuff, still while sober, you know. And then meeting more. So there's like an abundance. My body sees that there's abundance of women, there's abundance of friends, there's abundance of fun. I can be dancing and singing, and a lot of people like me. Some people don't, but a lot of people like me. And so I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. So my brain rewired really fast that I can have a lot of fun without drinking. And so that was, you know, that's level one, right? So for you, it might happen fast, or you might have to slowly start transitioning yourself to a new social circle while keeping your old one. So you don't need to quit drinking straight away, depending on your situation and your willpower. If I tell you stop cold turkey, that seems frightening to you. Don't stop cold turkey. Instead, what I want you to do is take one day out of your week when you're going out and spending time with people who don't drink, but also having fun, and find those people. And maybe it's going to take some time. Maybe it's just going to be chess people who play chess, and maybe that's going to be fun enough for you. Maybe that's going to be stimulating. You're like, oh, actually, this is amazing. I'm playing chess. Maybe chess is going to be boring. If you're like a, you know, if you're like a geezer, if you're like a, you know, a frat boy, and you go, what, playing chess? That's lame. Okay, fine. Find something else. Maybe that's going to be sports. Maybe that's going to be video games. Maybe that's going to be something creative, like making videos or painting or drawing or singing or dancing or martial arts. A lot of martial arts people are sober. Or maybe it's going to be yoga. I'm not saying everyone should do yoga, but maybe it's going to be yoga and meditation people. Maybe it's going to be some sort of spiritual group. Maybe something to do with your religion. Religion often encourages sobriety. Not all religions, funny enough, weirdly. How come? Some religions want you to drink. Well, anyway, And so that's an opportunity for you to explore what other aspects of life you like. Maybe it's going to be some sort of writing group or a business project, or you're going to have new business partners who you're going to do business with, and do that, and just pick one day of the week, and you can still hang out with your drinking buddies, still go to your breweries, to try new special brews of beer, and if that became such part of your identity and your friends group, you can do that and start replacing. And by replacing, you will see and you will prove to your body, not just mind, but to your whole body, that it can experience good emotions while being sober with people who are also like being sober. And so in this way, you start transforming that relationship you have with fun and excitement and celebration and good emotions. You start replacing those emotions, it becomes easier. You start replacing those social connections, and it becomes easier. Now you have sober friends and you have drinking friends, and now you have a choice who to spend time with. And now, if both are giving you the same good emotions, but with one of them you spend money on drinks, and with others you invest money, or you spend time getting drunk and then you wake up feeling shit, or you spend time exercising and you wake up feeling energized. You spend time fighting and you wake up feeling energized. You spend time playing music and suddenly now you're a better musician. You spend time doing business and now you made more money. You'll be seeing like, oh my God, why would I spend time with them? It's just going to become obvious for you. Or maybe you're still going to spend time with them and enjoy a more sober lifestyle. Instead of getting drunk every night, you'll get drunk 6 nights a week, 5 nights a week, 4 nights a week, 3, 2, maybe just one every 2 weeks. Maybe, you're slowly gonna, but instead of just reducing, you're gonna replace. It's very important to replace first. So if you're trying to quit, stay where you are, keep doing what you're doing, and start doing something that you really wanted to do, that you probably would have enjoyed doing way more than getting drunk. And I'm sure there's something like that: hiking, paddle, tennis, hockey, basketball, martial arts, yoga, traveling. Drunk traveling is not fun, I'm telling you. Try to be on a plane, get on a plane when you're drunk. It might not let you on. So sobriety is really good. I mean, right. So anyway, so that's this level. When it comes to and you don't need to stop seeing your friends all cold turkey, as I said. Slowly you can transition, and maybe you want to keep them and maybe hang out with them, or maybe you want to take them with you and be like, hey, by the way, I discovered something new: sober life. What? That sounds crazy. What? You can't have fun sober? What, are you crazy? And you're slowly you're gonna take them to your martial arts class or to your business meeting or whatever, and then oh, cool, sober people. And then slowly, maybe you're gonna take all of your friends with you, or maybe not. But you gotta start with yourself. Okay, don't try to save them without first, saving yourself. This needs to be certain stability in that, right? You can all do it together sometimes, but also it's the weakest link. If all of you are in a group and you said, let's do this, but there's one weakest link, then breaking it is going to make a lot of people want to tag along. But if you just make a decision for yourself and you're like, this is just for me, it's a whole different game. All right, but both can work, but really take care of yourself first in this one. So that's this aspect. Replacing. Obviously, exercise in general helps generating good hormones. So some sort of exercise is always going to be good for you, right? That's martial arts, gym, this and that. They're all good. Gym might not generate so many good emotions. For a lot of people, gym is boring. For some people, gym is great. If you know gym is great for you, it can be. But for a lot of people, gym can be really boring because you're just pumping metal and there's nothing happening. Like, why are you even doing it? What's the point? To bench press? Like, that's not even useful in life. When do you bench press anything in your life? You ever been in a situation where you need to bench press something? No, you need to lift up like this, lift up like this. You need to punch people sometimes. If you live in a dangerous area, you might need to throw shit, right? So it's different in real life. I'm not saying gym is bad. I go gym. It's great. It's great if you can know why it's good. For a lot of people, some different type of sport is always good. Running, hiking, basketball, team sports are always good because you're getting social connection, any of that stuff. So now let's move on to the. So there's 3 aspects. There's the, how to have fun, social celebration. There's management of sexual energy, and there's management of bad emotions. So let's talk about bad emotions. Quite often something bad happens, and it's almost like you can't allow yourself to feel it until you get drunk. And so people need to get drunk to start feeling how much they miss their ex. That's pretty much a stereotype, right? Either they go to Bali, right? Half of the people I meet in Bali, at least that are tourists, are after a heartbreak, or the heartbreak happens, breakup happens right there. Not laughing, probably similar, but or they just get drunk in their own city, right? So you how to learn how to process your own emotions. Now, therapy, all that can also be good, but you really need to do it yourself. So what happens is we're really disconnected from our emotions as a society. Women are connected to some degree, but men especially, very disconnected. You have to be hard, you have to be strong, which you have to be, of course. Don't be weak. I mean, if you have a choice, be strong, be weak, be strong. But strength is, being strong and not feeling your emotions are not exactly the same. You might have to appear undisturbed to some people so that they have certainty in you, like your family, your girlfriends, but within yourself, you need to be really honest with yourself. If something upsets you, don't lie to yourself that it doesn't upset you. If something hurts you, don't lie to yourself. So you need to find time for yourself, by yourself, that you're able to experience those emotions. Maybe you need to cry, maybe not. Maybe all you need to do is just breathe into your stomach, allow the sensations to pass. Journal. Maybe journal something angry. Maybe write an angry letter, how much you hate the person or an event or something else, and just burn it. Allow those to go. Singing, dancing, exercise, a lot of these things can help. Some aggression, martial arts, shouting, that's rock music exists for a reason. Rap quite often is an expression of negative pent-up emotions as well, right? So a lot of these things can help you. Learning how to feel and process those emotions, having ideally people you can be vulnerable with and share how much you hate something, or that's like the start of it. But going beyond it, understand what negative emotions are showing you and how can you transform them without kind of violently expressing them, by hurting somebody, or violently expressing them in a safe space, which is a better way, but still not the best way. Is learning how to transform those and see what worldviews you have, what beliefs you have that are making you experience those emotions in the first place. Because what's happening in the world is just happening. And it's going to happen, but our perception of what should be and what shouldn't be is what's generating those emotions. Because something that shouldn't be, it shouldn't be. And if it is, it makes us angry. It makes us or depressed or upset. So us unaccepting reality as it is, right? And I'm not saying I've transcended all of that, but this is what I'm, whenever a moment of awareness pops up, when I'm angry, I'm like, I'm not accepting this reality. I'm not accepting this, I'm not learning how to manage that. It's an opportunity for growth, those emotions. Now, it's not the easiest thing to do for most people, I could say. I'm not saying it's difficult. Some people can do it easily, but most people cannot do it. And so it's like the next level. So the first level is to learn how to manage those negative emotions without them being pent up too much so that they cause you to relapse for whatever addiction you have, including alcohol. A second is learn how to transform your beliefs to experience those negative emotions less. Because if you're fully empty and you have really no opinions of how the world should be or shouldn't be, nothing would bother you ever. And that's kind of like the Buddhist state. That's something that I quite aspire for. And so then your mismanagement of sexual energy. So sexual energy is creative energy. It's not just energy for sex. It can be used for sex, and if you want to do it, that's great. Nothing wrong with that. But a lot of people, when they drink, they try to suppress that energy because they haven't found an outlet for it. Either they're not dating the way they want to, or the girlfriend or the wife isn't, or whoever the partner isn't the way they want to, and they can't break up with them. They're not getting success in dating that they want. They're not going on enough dates. That's kind of the base level. But quite often, a lot of us are not going to experience what we really, really want in dating because our imagination is wild, and there's only so much to go around, right? And so it's transforming the sexual energy and channeling it from the bottom chakras higher and into something creative. And so what can you create with the energy? So quite often people are not creating. Maybe they have a job, they're working, but they're not really passionate about it. It pays the bills, helps them to look after the family, but they're not creating something they're really passionate about. So the way to transform this energy and to start working and building on something that's really exciting for you It's connected to you, to your heart, to your energy, to your story, and you're building that. And you're working on something that you're passionate about. It doesn't have to bring you money. You might even lose money on it, but you're passionate about it. For some people, that can be their business. They're just building their business. It can be very simple business. Like there's a shop or a supermarket or a property business. I'm not saying it's an easy business. It makes a lot of money, but it's not necessarily a creative, right? You're just, you know, flipping houses, right? But if that excites you, then do that, you know? Or it can be something like writing a book or a song or making music or playing an instrument or learning how to play an instrument or learning how to build an instrument, you know, making a book, acting, so many other things you can do that are creative, that are having you feel fulfilled in that creative way. And that's going to give you that deeper sense of satisfaction. And that's going to help you to transform that energy that could be destructive, self-destructive, into something beautiful and creative, and something a lot of people need. We need to learn how to channel, you know, to keep showing this motion because it's very important, right? We need to learn how to channel our sexual energy into creative energy. And it's not some sort of magical thing we need to learn how to channel. No, all you need to do is find something that excites you and start creating it. Even the smallest step you need to do. And so sometimes it's quite difficult, and I have separate videos on these topics. Follow your trail of excitement, something that excites you. Even if it's just a crumb, if you can't see the full picture, but even a small action would excite you, just do that. If it's moving somewhere, going for a holiday, experiencing a new place, do it. If it's going for one salsa class or one singing class, do it. I remember my first singing class. It was probably more powerful than the ayahuasca ceremony because I wanted to sing for such a long time, but I couldn't, and I could only sing when I'm drunk, and then I slowly transitioned from being able to sing while I'm driving, only on high speed. The faster the car goes, the more I was able to sing, because something happened to the mind that it became so focused, and you know, it couldn't. But I had so much fear and anxiety about it, and with the singing teacher, we just broke that. It was like psychological, and my voice opened up, and I was like, whoa, it's just magic. You know, just that one class, following the trail of excitement. And so, you know, it really transformed me, how I live and how I am. And it was absolutely the best money I've ever spent on sort of self-improvement, was learning how to sing. Probably way better than self-development courses, honestly, right? So it was something like that. So just follow that one thing, and it can lead to something magical. I mean, it's really hard for me to actually compare what was the best thing, because I've done so many great things. I mean, I lived in India with monks learning yoga, and yoga practice is something I do daily, yoga and meditation. And that's incredibly amazing, right? And it started from like a small thing, and following the trail of excitement. Actually, well, it wasn't a small thing, it was a big thing to go to India, because I was scared, and there are reasons to be scared, because it's a lot of discomfort. So it's a lot of troubles, right? A lot of things went not exactly how I wanted to. I mean, I did experience a lot of troubles and discomfort, but hey, it was worth it. And so, following the trail. But if you can't make a big move, make the small step. Break down whatever you wanted to the smallest steps, and that smallest step, break it down into 3 to 5 steps again, and take the smallest one, take the smallest one, have a small win. And so you will be transforming that energy, and you will start winning. And really, an addiction happens and when we're not really living our fulfilled life. Because even if you drink, but you're living passionately and intensely, it will not be an addiction. It will be just something you do, but it will not really take you out of life. It will not be in the way of you living the life of your dreams. And so again, we want to start replacing. We want to start replacing, you know. And so even maybe hungover, you'll be able to still do what you really, really, really want to do. Then it's fine for you to do that. The first level is really living passionately, living purposely, living happily, living joyfully, living in our most intense excitement. That's going to give us so much pleasure, so much joy, so much connection to our inner core, inner self, that no little thing like alcohol or cigarettes or whatever else is going to be able to stop us from being truly, truly fulfilled. And that's the most important. But it can start with something small, okay? It doesn't have to be this huge thing straight away, although it can be. But, you know, I'm a bit of a Buddhist in that sense. The middle way is, it doesn't have to be all at once, because sometimes I went like that and burn out, you know, not always, but sometimes I burn out. And then, you know, it doesn't have to be nothing at all, just a little bit of excitement every day, and you will see how your life will transform, because that energy is going to get moving. You're going to become a little happier. You're going to get a lot of those happy emotions. You're going to be able to replace you know, those happy emotions that you think you get from alcohol, and have a lot of fun, have a lot more courage in life. So have a lot more pleasure, have a lot more excitement. So this is the way to do it with alcohol. This is the way to transform your life. And don't be a perfectionist here, okay? Some people go from drinking every day to drinking nothing. Um, you know, don't be so harsh on your body and your system. Give it some time to adjust. If you have a couple relapses, that's fine. It doesn't mean anything. It's not a competition. You know those little coins they have with like, oh, 1 day, 1 year, 10 years. You don't need those little coins. That they're not. You're not collecting little coins. I mean, it's great to have this reward system, but it's not. It's not about that. You can have your little relapse here and there. It doesn't matter. What matters is your life is changing, you're improving, you're living your purposeful life. There's no point to compete, oh, I've been sober for this many years or days. Who cares? Are you living a life that inspires you, invigorates you, helps you feel electricity pulsing through your body, makes you feel connected to the higher purpose? You experiencing that, you going through it, you might experience so much stress that you will relapse. Otherwise, if you always want to stay perfectly sober, you will live so small that you will not take the risks that could make you feel those negative emotions that you can potentially relapse. That's the thing. Like with me, I could have stayed, you know, in one place and have a simple job, and I would always be sober, instead of having moments where I would relapse, because I'm risking. I've been traveling so much, you know, over 30 countries in the last couple of years, probably 100 or more locations, you know, types of people I meet and events I go to and whatever. And sometimes it was too much and overwhelming, and I'd have a little relapse, and you know, even go on a little binge for 1 or 2 weeks and whatever, and then be like, what the fuck am I doing? You know, like getting stoned for a week straight, and be like, whoa, that was fucking weird, you know. But that happens, and that's okay. And then you're back on it, and you're moving, and you're going, and you're living passionately, and all the experiences you get overwhelm that little relapse that you could have. Or instead, living a small life where you're just like, okay, I'm just going to make sure I'm not going to get triggered. Nothing triggers me. Lock yourself in the house. You know, okay, nothing triggers me. Don't do anything crazy. Just have a simple job. Nothing triggers me. Nothing triggers me. You know, living a scary life. It's okay. It's okay on this journey to do that. I'm not telling you that you should go and relapse, but I'm saying living passionately is way more important, because that's what's going to help you heal in the long run. And that's what's going to make you immune to those little trips and falls. Otherwise, otherwise you're just one step away from a relapse if you're living small, because you're always one step away from a relapse. And something is going to happen. Life is going to do something to you to stress you. And, you know, and then it's like we haven't managed. But if you're living passionately, you're moving fast, you're learning, you're growing, you're building business, you're building social media, you're making content, whatever else you're going to be doing, you're making money, you're helping people, you're building a charity, boom, 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 little trip, whatever, your momentum is so strong that little trip is nothing. You little trip and you're back on track. You little trip and you're back on track. What happens for people who try to live small? One little trip becomes a whole months of binging, complete destruction for them. And so that's what we don't want. So that's kind of the final message for you guys is, you know, live passionately, live with excitement, and this will really help you to create a lot of freedom from the substances in your life, because it's not really about not being addicted to something, it's living a great life. It's living a great and beautiful life. That is the best cure for addiction. Living an amazing life, living a beautiful life, living a passionate life, living a life that you always dreamed of. Living your dreams is the solution for all addictions. Get addicted to your dreams instead. Get addicted to fulfilling your dreams. Get addicted to fulfilling your vision. Get addicted to fulfilling your higher purpose. Get addicted to doing the things you always wanted to do, and get addicted to helping people, because helping people is what fuels your dreams to coming true. Good karma, generate good karma, help people in whatever way you can, and that helps to generate all that energy for the universe to then manifest your own dreams. Make other people's dreams come true, and the universe will make sure your dreams come true, and you having your dreams fulfilled, addiction will not even be a thing on your mind. You don't need a badge or a number of days sober. You don't even care. You forgot about that long in the past, because you were addicted to working your purpose, helping people, feeling alive, feeling happy, feeling fulfilled, fulfilling your dreams, being completely joyful, super excited. That's what I wish for you. That's what I wish all of you experience. And I wish you a happy, beautiful, lovely day. So do that. Take care. Love you all, guys, and have a beautiful, 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 beautiful life.